Darkness alone we dwell in from baby days, you know.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally?
Dancehall has certainly changed over the decades. It has gone from this to this. Stark difference, though. A genre has to change in order to remain relevant with the changing times. And at the moment, we are in the trap dancehall era, or trap-all. One such artist coming up during this era is Kraff, a young artist who has made quite a buzz within the last year or so. His YouTube numbers are proof of this. However, the question is, can Kraff establish himself in dancehall and maybe even beyond? Let's explore. Listening to Kraff's growing catalogue, I must say he's quite an interesting artist to figure out. He isn't overly lyrical, meaning he doesn't frame things cleverly or too deeply where I'm like, wow, that's a bar. Most of his lyrics so far doesn't give you a deep insight into Kraff himself, so that as an audience we can connect to who he is. The lyrical content is the typical chopper lyrics with sprinklings of badness, and of course lyrics about gyal suck. You know what. So why is it that he's having such great numbers on YouTube?
Why?
I think what makes Kraff unique is his ability to use his voice as an instrument. His tonal changes throughout songs are crazy. He actually reminds me a little bit of Tommy Lee Sparta. Remember Psycho? Yeah. Or if you were to compare him to an American artist, I would probably say he's a mix between Young Thug and Playboi Carti. Like Thug and Carti aren't overly lyrical, I would say Carti isn't at all, but he makes songs interesting based on how he uses his voice. Kraff does the same. And if you're not sure what I'm saying, check this out.
Pass full enough scars so me call if you chrome daddy want fast car charge up your bang a phone.
The next thing why I think people listen and enjoy his music is that he can flow on a rhythm, and he clearly has an ear for picking beats. Also, I like that he includes a visual to most of his songs. I think doing that shows an additional level of creativity that makes the music more appealing than it would on its own. It's a nice cherry on top. From the how much songs I listen to, I haven't heard a completely garbage song from him. If you haven't heard any of Kraff's songs before, I would suggest you listen to Charge Up, Step, NPT, and Sinner. His most popular song is Dinero. It's a cool song, but it isn't my favorite. No, I said I haven't heard a completely garbage song from him. Which is true, but there are a couple of songs that I don't particularly enjoy. Songs like Tick Tick I don't really care for. Sorry, but I just can't hear a song purely about how you should sitting in a girl throat at 10-11 in the morning. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear who I give job to who like an employment agency. Them songs that should be played exclusively at a strip club.
Sorry, man, sorry.
At the moment, the subject matter of his music revolves primarily around chopping. Kraff has stated that when he creates these types of songs and use the lingo, the meaning is actually different than what you may think. He says,
any means of upholding a financial status is chopping. As long as you do something, we are bringing food and can put bread on the table. You is a chopper.
No matter illegal or illegal.
No matter if illegal or illegal.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
While I understand what he's saying, basically chopping is the same as hustling, I think it will be a hard sell for him to change the mass perception on what chopping is. And say I really chopping him a talk, as in the masses' interpretation of chopping. Personally, I don't mind cause I like the songs, but I have to wonder whether this trend is a fad that will fade out in a few years. If the mass audience read chopping as scamming, Kraff would be in trouble. Not to mention, songs like that already are under scrutiny as the Broadcasting Commission has banned songs like that for the radio. So for Kraff to truly take a foothold in dancehall and beyond, he'll have to add some variety to his catalogue. Now Kraff has said that he aspires to be bigger than dancehall. One of his goals is to make a hit that will reach the global charts.
My goal is to trend on the global music chart, because basically once your music reach this, everybody in the world are listening one at a time.
And for that reason, he doesn't create music where his lyrics are personalized, meaning the lyrics he says may not necessarily be his lived experience. The reason for this is that he hopes the listener will be able to place themselves in the songs as the main character rather than it being Kraff himself. In doing so, he hopes to appeal to a mass audience. Personally, I don't think that's the best way to do things. The reason people connect with the biggest names in music, like Drake, Taylor Swift, Adele, is that there are elements of themselves within the music. The audience wants to connect to the artist. They want to hear the realness from the artist, and it's that they're able to connect to. I'm not saying that only songs with some level of introspection hit the charts. That's not the case, but songs like those tend to have staying power. Not to mention that's how you build and grow your fan base. It's not like as an artist you give every single detail of your life, but rather snippets that convey what you're going through. I think Kraff understands this, but would need to show it a bit more in my opinion. For example, my favorite song from him is Charge Up, and it does exactly this. It made me interested in wanting to hear more from him and his lived experience. Kraff states that he can do all types of genres, though to be fair I've only seen flashes of other genres within his music so far. Anyhow, his goal is to appeal to a mass audience and not just within dancehall. I agree that an artist should always seek to push the limits of his craft. No pun intended. I think if he does attempt to push into other genres, he shouldn't try to scatter his music too far across the different ones out there, particularly at the start of his career. It's better to establish a base first in one genre and then spread out. If you do too many at once too quickly, people won't really be able to understand the type of artist that you are, and that's not in a good way. At the moment, I think with Kraff's music and the imagery within his videos, he could definitely incorporate more elements of rock and dark emo rap into his repertoire, genres that already have a large mass appeal. This is what artists like a Playboi Carti does. His base is in rap, but he has incorporated elements of rock within his music. Kraff is a talented artist that has unique elements within his music that makes it appealing even though he may not be overly lyrical. He can make tonal changes within his voice that show some veteran experience despite being new to the music industry. It is clear that he has greater ambitions to not only establish himself within dancehall locally, but also internationally, while also branching into different genres. And I think he's capable of doing that. I just think he should really tap into his own emotions and lived experiences and layer it on the track. People will always connect to music they feel is real and addresses shared experiences. But what do you think? Can Kraff establish himself in dancehall? Or do you think he's a fly-by-night artist? Do you think he could truly break through internationally? Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, met me?
Portal of foot in there, you know?
Wait, what? Portal of footing?
Portal of foot.
Okay.
It's a slang, man.
Okay, yeah.
As in if you traverse to a different location.